Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, and we're reviewing Overlord. So yes, I am again the last person to review this movie. Because I never get to go see movies anymore on the day they come out. I always have to wait till Sunday, my actual day off. And so these don't get very many reviews, which really bums me out this time because this is Overlord and it is good. So when thinking about this review though, I wanted to think about like what has everybody already said about it? Like the Schmoes and Jeremy Johns and Angry Joe and everybody else, that all the big names now that have been reviewing movies right away, and they all kind of say the same thing over and over again, and how it's like a B movie, it's Nazi zombies, it's it's fun, I liked it, but this, and there's no stars, and it's better than it should be, or whatever, and they've given it good reviews, but they've also been just kind of bland. And I've watched a couple other people's reviews, and they like it too, and I'm trying to add something new. And while I was watching it, I'm just like, I got really excited about doing this review. So I encourage everybody that watches this, if you're new to the channel and you found this review, I'm honest. I give my personal honest opinion about this, about any topic that I do. Sometimes I make it personal, makes how it makes me feel personally. What it makes me, feel like maybe connotations about my life or whatever, but not so much in this case. So I'm going to do a non-spoiler review first, and then I'll tell you when spoilers are going to come. But if you're new to the channel and you have not seen the trailer, this will be explaining the plot sort of the movie. I'm going to assume that pretty much everybody has seen the trailer for this movie. So I'm going to get into that. Also, I'm going to be talking about some things that I don't think anybody else is really talking about, as far as more in-depth little details that people are kind of missing, and things that I just don't hear people talking about when they talk about this movie. So I really encourage you to share this video, not for my own self really, but for people that want to have a greater really talk about this movie in more general terms than, hey, you know what, that in the right theater the sound is really great. So first off, I'm surprised at the person who wrote this. I'm not a big fan of pretty much anything he's done. Shattered Glass wasn't a bad movie. It was one of the only movies that Hayden Christensen's been kind of given a good review based on performances. But he's also done some screenplays that I really wasn't into at all. Pretty much most of his work. So I'm surprised here. Now, it's not the greatest screenplay in the world. This is pretty by the numbers as far as dialogue goes. Nothing in here is going to blow your mind. There's some fun lines, and they get some funny stuff in here and that, but I was kind of surprised that how much that I like a movie written by a guy named Billy Ray. It's just, that's just me though. Now, as far as people talking about that there's nobody in this movie, well, that's just such a load of garbage because there are some pretty decent people in this movie. Now, they don't all have very big amounts of screen time, but there are people in here, including, let's start with probably the biggest name or the most recognizable face in this movie, which is Bokeem Woodbine. If you don't know who Bokeem Woodbine is, I guess you never saw what you didn't see Amazing Spider-Man Homecoming, or gosh, he's been in so much that I don't even really know what to tell you. Just look up Bokeem Woodbine and you'll see that he's probably been in a movie or two that you already saw. But he's in it. We've got three cast members, well, three people from Game of Thrones. You've got, let's see, I needed this. Jacob Anderson, who plays Dawson in this. He's Grey Worm on Game of Thrones. You've got Pilu Asbiak, I butchered that. He plays Euron Greyjoy on Game of Thrones. If you hate him on Game of Thrones, you are really going to love to hate him in this movie, because he plays this Nazi motherfucker named Waffner, and he's pretty much the villain of this movie. In fact, I pretty much think that's what he's supposed to look like at one point. And then there's a guy who does like stunts for Game of Thrones on here. My personal one that I was really happy about was Ian de Castecker, who plays Fitz on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Nobody's talking about that. When they talk about this movie, I'm like, it's Fitz, man. It's Fitz from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's like freaking awesome. He's in a big movie. It's great for him. I love it. He plays, Chase. Then you have Jovan Adepo, who is basically, our lead here, co-lead. Jovan Adepo, he was in one of my favorite shows of all time, The Leftovers. And then you have Wyatt Russell, who's, they'll go, oh, it's Kurt Russell's brother. But I didn't know that. I knew him from shows like Lodge 49. And he was in Everybody Wants Some. And he's getting around. He's making the rounds quite a bit lately. He's getting a lot of work. And then there's John Magaro, who plays Tibbet. Now, he's one of those guys that he's like the person in the movie where you go, oh, that's that guy from that thing. Guy in this movie. And so there are people in this movie that it's not like, yeah, there is no Tom Cruise. There is no Julia Roberts. I don't know why I went with them, but you know what I'm saying. But that's fine. Another thing that people are saying about this movie is that it's an unapologetic B movie. It's just embracing its B moviness. I don't really think so. I think what this movie is somebody said, hey, okay, this is a B movie premise. Okay, so some soldiers go to France to blow up this tower, that's got a radio on it that's blocking a signal to stop, so that the Americans that are about to invade Normandy don't have air support. And then they find out that there's a freaking secret Nazi lab where they're building super soldiers or some shit, because it's nuts down there. And they take this, they go, okay, so this is a B movie premise. How do we elevate that and make it not a B movie? Because I don't think that this movie is really like relishing in its B moviness, and that's just because it has a budget. They actually just said, let's take this B movie premise and make it more like an A movie, because that's what this is. This is an A movie, and as far as what it's sounding like, nobody's going to see this on Veterans Day. Now, I know that like the subtext, the subplot here, the Nazis experimenting and people calling it zombies. That's another thing. They're not really, look, if you want to go real broad technical, they are reanimating dead tissue, so they must just be zombies. But it's more like a super soldier program gone really wrong. So it's not, it's being sold like that, and it's got the horror and everything, and it's scaring people away. But really, on this Veterans Day weekend, what would be more appropriate than some American soldiers going into France to shoot Nazis, and then they find out they got to kill Nazis that want to start a super soldier program? That says Veterans Day to me, because this has your Nazis, this has your World War II. Girl in the Spider's Web, that's probably going to do better than this, and that's a major bummer. There was barely anybody in the theater that I went to, and it just bummed me out, because look, I like the Girl in the Blankety Blank Blanks movies just fine. I really like the David Fincher version, and the original, what is it, Norwegian or Swedish versions, those were good too. But this over the Girl in the Spider's Web, just to me, just not enough people are going to see this, because they're going to think that this is just a straight up horror movie. This is awesome. It makes me think more like Inglorious Bastards meets, like, I don't know. Like, but another comparison I have it is where movies have this one premise and then the ante gets upped. Like the movie The Descent, or Dog Soldiers, who I'm not even 100% sure, but I think those movies might have been directed by the same guy, where they take this premise that's just this simple thing, like in The Descent, minor spoilers here for both Descent and Dog Soldiers if you haven't seen them, is they take this situation, like in The Descent, they're spelunking, they get trapped, they have to get out, and that's scary enough, and then there's this whole other element that happens in that movie that goes, oh my God, and raises it up and amps it up even more. With Dog Soldiers, you've got these soldiers out there in the Scottish Highlands, and they're on this mission, and all of a sudden it turns into this crazy supernatural thing that just amps up the like holy shit factor. And this does the same thing, where it takes these guys that are on a mission. They're supposed to just take out this radio tower that's got Nazis behind it, and there's very few of them to do this, and you get this impossible type mission, and you go, okay, this is good, and then you get it amped up by the other thing that they find out. And so that's just really good, and it is so satisfying. It is such a good movie. It's not like Best Picture, it's not going to change your life, but it is like in a time, in a week here where, if you've already seen everything, this is the movie you should be going to see. Girl in the Spider's Web will be there next week. But unfortunately, I don't think that's how it's going to pan out for this movie, which... So let's talk a little technically. The sound in this movie was really good. It was really great. Also, the whole just beginning of this movie, where it is a solid World War II movie. Now, there are lots of cliches in this. They're saying, the saying is, there's a million stories in the naked city. Well, there's apparently a million different stories you can tell about people getting shot down over France and getting separated from their company, because it seems like a lot of World War II movies do that. But they find ways almost every time to tell you something new, some new fresh angle. Don't get much fresher than this. And so the cliches didn't bother me. There is a very Saving Private Ryan-y kind of squad here. You've got the soldier who's not really considered much of a soldier. You've got the mysterious guy that's in charge that nobody really knows what he did to get this assignment. You've got the kind of nonstop sarcastic, kind of New Yorker guy. You got the dreamer guy that has these, when I get home, I'm going to do this. And you got the guy that's kind of like Upham from Saving Private Ryan, who's more like, he's the photographer, and he's more like there to capture the moment. Like, he's not really there to fight. And all those things are there. And you've got, Nazis that don't get more cliche than that, because, look, they're not going to... these guys aren't breaking new ground as far as characterization goes. And you've got the girl and the little subplot in here. But it all just works, and it's all just fun. And every time you think, oh, this is going to be a dumb cliche, it just kind of flips it on its head. And that's so enjoyable to see somebody that can take these cliches and make them work in a new way. And so by the end of this, there were just a few things. I was really excited to do this review. The other thing I wanted to do was play Wolfenstein really bad. Like, I just wish that I could have just been like, as soon as I got in the car, I wish I could have just busted it out on here and been like, all right, time to play some freaking Wolfenstein and shoot some Nazis. Because we got to get our Nazis. So that's pretty much it for the non-spoiler part of this. It's really, really good. Please tell people, go see this, and then tell your friends to see this. And like I said, if you like this video, share it with other people, because I want them to hear some of these things that nobody's going to talk about really in their reviews. and that is like, so we're gonna get into a little bit of, you know, some spoiler territory here, but it's not Nazi zombies. It is a World War II movie that takes itself seriously and puts you through some stuff that you've seen, but it's all good. You get your, you know, Nazis terrorizing a village. You get the bad Nazi that, you know, you can't wait to see get put in his place. You got, you know, plucky U.S. soldiers that you root for and you hope make it through this thing alive. And it's just, that's just so what I needed today, at least for me personally. I was having kind of a bummer week, and this really made up for it in many ways. So now let's talk a little bit now about spoilers a little bit here. So spoilers from here on out, I'm gonna talk about this movie. So if you haven't seen the movie, you might want to see it and then come back to this. We're at minute 16:02. So from here on out, we're gonna be talking about spoilers. So yes, this is like technically, yeah, they bring dead people back, but they also bring people like, it also works on people that aren't dead. And we find this out in several occasions in this movie, that this serum that they're using really amps you up. If you've done, like Ian Kostecker, Fitz, I'm just going to call him Fitz, okay? Fitz from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is in this movie, and he gets killed. But immediately after he dies, our hero, Boyce, stabs him with this serum that he got from the Nazi secret base, and it brings him back to life. Now, Ian de Kostecker, I gotta learn how to say his name, gets to do just some amazing weird shit here when he comes back to life. And you just, at first you're just like, oh my God, he's still alive. And then you go, oh my God, he's still alive. Please, somebody make him not alive anymore. Because this isn't good. This is not good for him, or our other characters, or the world itself. Something has to be done about this. So this serum's not gonna help you, really. You'd probably, like the trailer for Pet Sematary before this movie says, sometimes dead is better. And I couldn't agree more in this instance. The gore factor in this movie is incredible. I was like kind of like going, okay, this is just whatever. And then there's just some holy shit moments in here that are just fantastic. And yeah, if you can't handle, you know, it, then, you know, if you're squeamish, it's not saying, you know, like trying to say to people, warn them about gore or whatever, is kind of like saying, you know, like, well, are you afraid of spicy food? You know, because spicy means different things to different people. Same as a little bit of gore to me might be a lot of gore to you. To me, the violence was just right. Just a little over the top a couple of times, but just perfect. I had the perfect amount of ultra violence that I was wanting. And done really, really well. Really, really well. There were, when he unzips the bag that there's this dude in, I was like, oh man, like, but it wasn't gory. It was just disturbingly odd that there's this person in this bag, like, oh. And then they find the lady with her head that's still talking, and it's detached from her body, and they got like her spinal cord attached, and she's still speaking, s'il vous plaît, like, oh my gosh. Now our villain, man, Wafner, who is played by Pilu Asbæk from Game of Thrones, he is such a good villain in this. He really he's got the bad guy shitty, like, down to a science at this point, because it's like his direction must have just been, we really want to hate you, so just you know, like, it's on the page, I guess, but there's something that this guy does, the way that he plays it, that you just go, I don't care what happens to him, and I hope it lasts a long time. And yeah, he takes a lot of licks in this. He gives his licks too, but it just, you know, you get to see a lot of damage happen to this guy. And it's just like you don't really just want to see him get shot in the head and die. You kind of want him to suffer a bit. And does that make me a little bit, I don't know what's wrong with me, but it's Nazis. Do we really care what happens to the Nazis? Sorry, I don't know. Maybe you go, it's a little too far, Rob, but I can't help it. That's just how I feel. If you're a Nazi, you deserve what you get. Let's see, what else can we talk about here? I'm trying not to ruin the whole damn thing, but I do like the way that the opening shot is, and then they have it like in the kind of newsreel form when the title Overlord comes up. It's really cool how that was in like kind of newsreel letters and film. And there are a couple of times where it does get a little grainy, like Grindhouse. But for the most part, this movie is filmed in regular style, which is fine. It's dirty, but it doesn't look too grindhousey. Let's see, what else are we at? Wyatt Russell is really good in this. He's definitely miles from where he is on the show Lodge 49, where he's kind of like a Jeff Lebowski kind of dude. And in this, he's a straight up hardcore motherfucker who is all about the mission and likes torturing Nazis and really, really, really wants to make sure that the operation of Overlord takes place. He gives punishment, he takes punishment. He is another person to really watch out for. Same as the guy who plays Boyce, who was on The Leftovers, Jovan Adepo. He's really somebody else to look out for, and everybody in this, man, deserves to get some extra attention. Hopefully this movie, even if it doesn't do well, it will make people notice these actors quite a bit. And let's see, because I'm not going to give away the ending, but that's about as spoilery as I'm going to get. But, and I'm hoping that I've covered the things that I wanted to cover. So that's it. Go see this movie. It should still be at your theater next week. So if you don't want to see it this week, go see it next week. Help this movie out, because we need more movies like this. It seems like every movie lately I've been seeing is movies that people like, but nobody goes to see. Like whether it's Bad Times at the El Royale or movies like The Nice Guys that I really like that nobody went and saw, that are just really fantastic movies. And this is no different. This is a great movie. It deserves to be seen by everybody. It should be doing better on Veterans Day, but unfortunately I think the horror movie aspects are holding it back when they try to sell it to you. I think if they had gone a more World War II trailer with just kind of how they handle From Dusk Till Dawn, where it's like From Dusk Till Dawn starts out as this just road trip movie with gangsters, and then all of a sudden gets turned into a freaking full-blown vampire fest. And even though that movie was polarizing too, it is got a cult following. So hopefully, even if this doesn't do that great right now, it will get a huge fan base later on. It's just unfortunate because that means that it's harder for these kind of movies to get made. So anyway, that's it. I think I've praised this movie enough for the day. We are at 23 minutes as it is. So anyway, if you liked this video, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, share, and share, and share, and share. Hit the bell for all notifications on these videos. Otherwise, this is Rob Smirking Gun Review saying, go see Overlord, go see Overlord, go see Overlord, and we will see you next time.